Hey there, lifelong learners, artists, and curious individuals, and welcome to the Field Talk podcast, where I explore methods, tools, and processes used by professionals to expand our knowledge and inspire experimentation in our own pursuits. I'm your host, Craig Sheffield, and today I have the pleasure of introducing a truly inspiring musician to our podcast. Meet Billy Walshaw, a self-proclaimed wandering soul making waves in the music scene here in Taiwan. His journey began with a bold decision to leave school at 15 in pursuit of his musical dreams. From jamming in bands to performing at gigs all across Taiwan, Billy has honed his craft and captured the hearts of many with his talent and dedication. Our paths first crossed at the May Jam Festival in Tainan, where Billy's electrifying performance left me in awe of his authenticity and passion for music. We continue by exploring challenges Billy faced, his approach to songwriting and recording, and the valuable opportunities he's found through platforms like Street Voice, along with government support. It has been an honor to witness his growth as an artist and to play a small part in his creative evolution. So if you're ready to be inspired by Billy's unconventional yet determined path in the music industry and gain insight into the creative process and the rewards of perseverance, stay tuned for an episode filled with raw, honest conversations about the realities of making it as a musician. Now, without further ado, let's welcome Billy Walshaw to the show and let's get creative.
Oh, thanks, Craig. That was lovely. I was trying to remember. You said we met at May Jam. Was that the one where it was pouring down with rain? Was that the one?
No, I think I skipped. Well, there may have been multiple instances where there was rain pouring down in May Jam, just because it happens.
Yeah, I guess so. It was rainy season.
But there was one like a year or two ago that I didn't make it to, but we definitely met. I say we met, and I really mean that I like saw you perform. I don't know if I went over, shook your hand, or like had a meaningful conversation with you or whatever. I just remember that you were playing in a trio.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask, was it the trio or was it two people? Because then I can kind of place it in time. Or is the trio?
It was definitely earlier, so maybe 2015, 2016, or somewhere in that time frame is what I would have to guess.
So that was still kind of the old band, the bento band period. Cool. Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it was very different than the other performances I remember at the time. And I just, I really dug it. Like what you were doing then was kind of what I felt like I wish more artists were doing, just because I like different things. I like original things and things that kind of speak to, the other crowd, I suppose.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's cool to be fringe, but still, you want more people coming to gigs but yeah, there's no other way just to do it how you want to do it. And I remember I saw your impression, the Stinky Tofu. I saw you guys play at Rocks at least, 2-3 times. And then, yeah, I would say this is really creative stuff. So that's when I first got to know you, I think. Stinking Tofu with Travis.
Yeah, we were just rolling around. We were rolling around the Kaohsiung area, I guess, in the same time frame. So Now you're in Taipei.
Yes, I am.
But, I just hope that we can dive right in, kind of. And I want to understand, you left school when you were 15 to pursue music. And I'm just curious, like, what went into that decision and how do you think it shaped your musical journey?
Well, it was more like I was a mixed living in Taiwan, and then my parents tried to send me to England, and then that worked out for a while, but it was more, I missed home. I couldn't really I was there for a few years. So I wanted to come back really. So when I did come back, we tried local school. And then also that was because I couldn't speak Chinese that well then, and I couldn't write at all. So I was basically at the back of the class, just doing my own thing. It was hard. So my parents always allowed me to, kind of, if I didn't want to go to that school, they would try and find another school. And eventually we tried KAS, the international school. And that was pretty good for me because it improved my English. And then I met a lot of friends that I'm still friends with now. That was a good one. But at the end of the day, I think I don't know. I just didn't like to be told what to do. I mean, the teachers, looking back, I was a handful, but the teachers, you know, they tried their best, but I wasn't feeling that this is what I wanted to learn, wanted to do. And actually, I wanted to be a pool player first, but I've always, you know, played drums and first and then played guitar. So I always wanted to write songs. So I actually quit school to become a pool player. But that didn't work out because I didn't practice enough. So then I wanted to write songs. So yeah, that was a good period for me because I really concentrate on writing songs and I was homeschooling kind of. And yeah, it took off from there really. I think it's just wanting to create. I remember I've always wanted to draw. I've always been wanting to copy things. And then, you know, when you're 15, 16, all these emotions and, you know, where am I from? What am I doing in Taiwan? Where should I be? All these questions. And then you know, some punk rock music, add that together. And then you get a few songs and that's where it all started. Yeah. I remember playing in small cafes in Chaozhou and I'm sure they've never seen anything like it. I used to, you know, jump on the drum kits and be pretty out there. And I don't think Chaozhou was ready. Yeah.
It's interesting. So yeah, I didn't actually know that, you know, you went to England for a period and then came back to Taiwan. And then I would imagine that'd be an incredibly difficult situation inside of a public school here. I know it seems like things are very formal inside of the public school system here. And I don't know how they would handle somebody that basically doesn't have any of those requirements that they needed if there were extra classes for you. But it's good that you transitioned into a different school that was, you know, you still met some friends. I think that's one of the great things about, you know, school and going to some place like that is that you do develop a network and you have relationships, you know, with people.
Yeah.
You know, you left the international school and you said you were homeschooling and exploring things on your own. Can you tell me about like any of the specific experiences you had like during that really formative time, I would assume, you know, of your life?
Right. I mean, my parents were pretty open, especially my dad. So, you know, once he said, sure, you can leave school, but you got to give me, you know, some reasons. What you're going to do? What's your goal? And then he was kind of open like that. We could talk about that. But then again, it was also very, very, very loose. Some of the homeschooling, a lot of it would be kind of just me listening to music all day, hanging out with my dad, you know, friends older than me. So it was quite different. It's not the homeschool that we kind of think about. But yeah, we did tell me to, you know, read Treasure Island or listen to this Velvet Underground album or, you know, and then that definitely stimulated me. And his CD collection was really cool. I got all of my music pretty much from there. And then, you know, what do the White Stripes like? Oh, this blues guy. So I would go into that way, music that way. And I think basically it was just, they gave me the time. My parents gave me the time and they gave me the freedom. And that's quite rare, I think. And yeah, it's been a blessing. I could concentrate on writing songs and I went to Taipei very early with, you know, an old band and we were trying to get gigs and, you know, it was a good experience playing gigs so young. So that was good for me. And I think, yeah, I remember homeschooling a lot of the time was getting up quite late and listening to albums and then trying to write songs on guitar. And my dad told me you got to learn Sweet Little 16 by Chuck Berry. That will help you. He would give me like random advice like that. And, you know, usually I listen to him. I can still play that song. He was right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think that, it's an early age. I mean, there are obviously there are other people that are performing and doing these types of things on their own, such as making bands, in their teenage years, right? I believe I was even in some band. We entered some Battle of the Bands competition whenever I was somewhere early high school, probably. I had to borrow a drum set, and I didn't really know how to play drum set all that well at that point. And then the other guy was playing guitar and like writing these songs. And so we'd get together and then we'd rehearse these things and then we'd just go out and try to perform them wherever we could.
Yeah.
I don't think we won anything, but I never even thought about performing at like a festival where I was, at least where I grew up. I think that's an interesting experience. And also just the dynamics of working with other people inside of a band that I guess you yourself or other people you were co-organizing sounds, exciting. And could you share any memorable gigs or experiences and performances?
Well, the first band was actually just me and my friend called Eileen, and she's in Thailand now. And she was basically coming to our school. My mom and dad had opened a bushi band before, an English cram school, and she was studying there. And then we just got along. We were, 14, 15, and I was playing guitar. I was just starting to write songs and I needed a drummer. And I could play drums, but I couldn't do two at the same time. So I basically trained her to be the drummer and I taught her some basic grooves. And that was, that we practiced in my room. And a memorable gig we did was in Japing, which is an Aboriginal village in Pingdong. And they have these, Wan Huis, which is like a festival, or it could be Christmas or something like that, an important festival. And everybody goes to the church. There's a big square and I'm on a big stage and I was really nervous and I had a lot to drink. I was pretty out of it and I wanted to make a big impression. So I remember, I played a lot of gigs, but I probably wasn't that good. Like, my singing and stuff wasn't the best. So that gig, I was always nervous before a gig because I was self-conscious that maybe I wasn't that good. So I would just get really drunk, get really hammered and put on a rock and roll show. And then I remember for that gig, we play. And then something just took over. And on the last song, I smashed my guitar on the last song. Yeah. I don't know. I think I was frustrated that it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. And then I took my flying V that I got from England. I smashed it. I kind of regretted it afterwards though, but it was a powerful statement for me. And I remember a couple of years ago, one of my friends, Dongpei, he's a singer now, but he said he remembers me smashing my guitar. And he says, "Oh, why were you so angry?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool." So that was a cool gig.
Wow. Do you remember how old you were at that point or, when it was?
That must have been 17-ish. Yeah, 17, 18. And my first Spring Scream was quite cool too. I think that was 2012. I did, because we just got Billy and the Filters. That was the second incarnation of the band. And then it was some friends that I met in Taipei and we formed this Filters band. And we applied for, Lovestock, Spring Scream, May Jam. And we got in quite a lot that year and 2013. And yeah, the first Spring Scream, it's a big deal. And I was living in Taipei at the time. So we all went down on the bus, getting there early in the morning and then really excited to get to Spring Scream. And yeah, seemed like it was, we made it kind of. It's a step up. We got into Spring Scream. So that was a good feeling.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I think, playing, I like that, just first off, people that aren't familiar with Taiwan, you're dropping a lot of names of, cities and locations inside of Taiwan. It's not a huge island. You can look it up on a map and probably identify a lot of the places that you're saying, right? But, and then on top of that, we have names of festivals that have gone on for years and years. I wouldn't say, Taiwan's has like a Fuji Rock type festival here, but we have, very long-standing things that are, well known within the island and definitely internationally, certainly in Southeast Asia. So these places, like you said, Spring Scream, which unfortunately I don't believe is around anymore, but was a great festival that I do remember going to. One of my first in Taiwan, where I was kind of blown away by all the talent and just diversity, and just the fact that,
It was
oh wow,
fun.
you can camp
Really fun.
here. It's a beautiful place. There are great people all around, multiple stages, just a great time all around.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really cool experience when you you feel like I've got into this thing
Yeah.
that seems like an exclusive
That's true.
event. But let's see here. Let's we talked about a little of kind of where you came from, what happened after you stopped going to traditional schooling.
Yeah.
You formed some bands, right? Some earlier, you said, formations of a band that you had. What do you feel like is there like an ultimate form of that band that you feel like was the band that you tell people about, or is it ever evolving?
That's the thing. Yeah, it's always changing. I think it's very hard to get a group of people going in the same direction for years and make it happen. Things always happen, and I think it might be extra harder in Taiwan. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just exaggerating, but it seems it's harder to get someone fully committed. And family pressure, financial problems, and you've got family issues. So it's a hard one. So I there are some good periods. I really like the bento band period when it was me, Eileen, Zhuang, and then we would rotate drummers. We never had a stable drummer. That was pretty cool. We'd roll up into town, and then we might know a few friends there, or we just ask, can anyone play drums? And that's how we played a lot of gigs at the time. And I think it was more of a folky kind of storytelling. That was a cool period. I think it was just right then, we were early 20s and we had the time. And then we did a lot of, going around the island, playing at small cafes, pubs, and then, crashing at friends' houses, playing festivals, just for the fun of it, because you're not making money. You're just doing it because you want to do it and it's fun. And so those were good times. And fortunately, well, the band split up. Ziggy Stardust said. And then so you just kind of grab the people around you, especially at jams. Like, for example, we go to Rocks a lot in Kaohsiung, and I found so many band members there, ex-band members, and we're still friends, but we might do a project together and then we go our own ways. That's cool too. I'm more open to that now. It doesn't have to be just one band. I think one band, it's doable, but right now I think it'd be better for me to have multiple projects going on at the same time. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I'd like to re-record some of the stuff that the old bento band did, get them back together again. But I think it was definitely just perfect for that period, and it was a growing process for me. Some people still say they like the live stuff we did then. So it must have meant that we were onto something. It's definitely a shame we didn't continue though. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you happen to have any recordings left over from any of that material, or like how do you record and kind of write things? I mean, there's different avenues we could go off here, right? Like you talked about collaborating with people and how that's difficult, and then you're talking about the kind of creative process. And so I mean, maybe we should backtrack just a second, and let me start over from that moment when you just finished.
Okay.
But
okay.
So you mentioned having multiple versions of this project, or these projects that you've been working on, where you're continuously writing and working with other artists inside of a band. It must be difficult whenever there are different individuals coming inside the creative projects that you're working on, because I know artists, I work with artists, I am an artist, and some of us can be quite opinionated and want to contribute to the creative project. And I think that while some of that is healthy, maybe too much of that is what ends up leading to the bands basically disagreeing on, XYZ, and then they split. So, I mean, do you have any advice for people that are having difficulty finding people or just keeping people together? And how do you unite, a team of individuals to kind of have a unified vision?
It's very difficult. I mean, I've been that guy who mentioning that, I'm a control freak, and then but I'm also quite passive aggressive, so I will kind of be distant. So I'm really hard to get along with. So I don't know what advice I could give, but I think the thing is, it's kind of like a relationship. It's like a family, or it's like even like a girlfriend, boyfriend kind of weird relationship that you have to, work on. And I think it's good, kind of the Taoist method, not grabbing too hard, just making the right environment for creative things to happen. I think that's a good skill to learn. Kind of not being bossy about it, but just plant the seeds and kind of, or make a chill environment on a kind of sofa with some art and everything set up, and then a few beers or whatever, and then things happen. I think it's good to be able to know what these people, the people you're working with, what they're good at, what their strengths are, and then kind of push them in that direction. So yeah.
All right, great. Yeah, I totally agree with you about creating the kind of safe space, that comfortable space where, they can really shine, or the people you're working with are going to just offer up, those ideas and the valuable insights that they have to make whatever you're working on, better, or the collective group is working on better, right? And not grabbing on to something too hard, like you said, that'll cause a lot of friction with everybody. And a lot of times, especially when creative projects, it's apples and oranges. It's just like, it's all going to taste good, in my opinion. I don't.
The bass player,
you can either go to
the bass player always wants the bass louder, and I always want my guitars louder.
Standard.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's jump over and talk about some of the more recent projects.
All right.
That you've been working on, and maybe just tell us first about one of the more memorable projects that you've been doing, and maybe what made it stand out for you.
Well, it will have to be the Taiwan Beer project. So I won. You apply online. It's like a big contest, and then you apply online and you get chosen, and then 30 bands play in a kind of World Cup semi-final, finals, and then you win it, and then you get a contract with Taiwan Beer. It's a year contract, and then you get to record a song for them, and they use that song in an advert or post it online for you. They record it professionally. And it's quite cool because the producer of this project is the singer of quite a famous band in Taiwan called The Chairman, or 董事长. So for me, it was interesting because they're, the 90s kind of Taiwanese they're almost like Ubai or something like that. They have strong Taiwanese identity. Same kind of period as Mayday, 五月天. And then so it's a cool period of Chinese rock for me. So it was exciting to get to work with Jidong, with the singer. And then I think Taiwan Beer, they have good, they let you do your job, they're not they're overwhelming, they obviously, at the end of the day, you're selling a beer. I think it's good for, underground artists or people who, are still developing their craft to have this chance. And you basically get a kind of, they prepare you for, releasing an album, that experience. So yeah, I just finished this contract and I did the advert. I did a lot of YouTube promotion. Some I was comfortable with, some not so much. especially the one where I had to sing commercials like popular Chinese songs on the street in Ximending when I didn't know them at all. That was a bit hard. But yeah, it was a lot in a year. And go Taiwan Beer.
Well, man, first off, winning a competition is definitely a significant achievement. I know you said, there's an application process, then there's those 30 entries that you have to compete against.
Yeah.
So highly competitive. And then it's a year-long contract, like you said, and a great, obviously exposure opportunity, a learning opportunity, all around excellent. I was wonder if you could walk us through the process of maybe what was the requirements for the application, and like you had to actually lead up to the performance, right? So like you had to make a original song first, or you just using material that you already had?
Right.
Just help us understand that.
Yeah, so there's a platform in Taiwan called Street Voice, and it's kind of like a SoundCloud for Taiwan. And then you post your songs up there, and they regularly have contests where they will pop up, and it's very easy to use. And then actually that Taiwan Beer one was one of many I applied for. And I remember you just give them about 3 songs, and then you just kind of forget about it. And then a couple months later, I got an email saying, "Oh, you're in." And then they gave me a date when semifinals would be. So I think actually what they told me, I think over 150 bands applied, and then they choose 30 songs. Yeah. You can apply 3 songs, something like that. And so, yeah, I got into the semifinals. And then at that time, my band, Mudskipper, couldn't make it. They were all busy. So I went alone, just me and guitar. I was actually thinking, oh, actually, I'm not going to make it. But I don't know. I was just, okay, just go, just do it. It's better to do it than regret it. So I went just with my electric guitar, my effect pedal, and I did an old song, The Great Reveal. So these were not new songs. These were kind of recent old songs that I did. And then they chose The Great Reveal. So that got in. So I wrote that song. I remember I did it all just by myself. And right at the end where the guitar solo is, stepped on my looper pedal, soloed. And I remember it was kind of, I don't know, I could feel it made an impression because they weren't expecting that, I think. Just somebody rocking up by himself and singing, because it's a rockabilly song, but then it goes kind of psychedelic. So it's not just a straight up song. So I think that took them, but I could feel the mood change in the crowd. And there's a part where it's clap your hands and sing along. And then I really went for it. So I got them singing and the judges singing. I don't know. I just like that feeling of being on the edge, and I just had a feeling, just do something out there or do something that, you don't see every day, but still being authentic to me. I'm not putting on an act. I'm just, giving them, Turbo Billy. So yeah, so that was the semifinals. And then, a couple of days later, if you got in, and then, yeah, I got into the finals. And then I knew that I couldn't just rock up alone again. So I'm in the jam scene in Taipei. There's many bars that have jams on weekdays. And then you get to know musicians. And so I knew I had to put a thing together for this final. So we had like a month to prepare, and it's 2 original songs. So it was The Great Reveal and Be Quite Deep, which are all old songs of mine. But I knew I needed a twist on it. So I got Xiao Lai, harmonica player, Zoe, the backup singer, and then Kang on drums, Zaza on bass, and myself. And a 5-piece. So yeah, I don't usually do 5 pieces. So it was good to have a structure to the 2 songs. It was kind of like I was imagining a Live Aid or something where a band only has 20 minutes. So I wanted to put as many different colors as possible. So we had a harmonica intro and kind of an extended solo to the songs that the original recordings don't have. And I'm fine with that because I don't think the demos that I did are they're just it's just that song for that period, but I could always write another one. So for the finals, we did the great reveal that you're quite deep. And I remember it was raining and it was very dramatic. And it was I had to cover my pedal board with a plastic bag. And it went well. I think when the time comes, I'm able to switch on and go into, get serious. Usually I'm quite not serious, but that I felt, stepping up. I felt to step up at the moment. And then we were backstage after the two songs, and all the other bands had finished, and they're announcing the winners and stuff. And I'm just thinking, I mean, even if I don't get first prize, maybe like a second prize or third prize, just to get, some money to be able to, pay the musicians and stuff. But yeah, when your name comes up, everything kind of goes slow motion and hazy. Billy Walshaw. Oh, wow. And I wasn't sure if it was for the top prize because it was kind of in the distance there. So we went on stage not kind of knowing what we won. And then we looked at the plaque that they gave us, whatever, and it was, top prize. And we were like, mind blown. It's just like a movie or something.
Okay, wow. That's a whole lot to take in for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't realize. So you said they told you later there's like 150 applicants.
Right.
And these applicants all submit through that platform Street Voice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great platform. First off, if you are in Taiwan and you do have some music that you're writing, you're making something original, you can get on that platform and then have these opportunities that you were talking about. You also mentioned you applied for other things. Like, I wonder if you could just share, like, how are you coming across some of this information, these things to apply for? For instance, like, are you just Googling this stuff or other people telling you? Is there a certain place that you go to?
Yeah, a big mix. I mean, I just post most of my things on Street Voice now. I don't, maybe YouTube. I don't use SoundCloud anymore. I just think because I'm in Taiwan, I'm trying to connect with a Taiwanese audience. So yeah, Street Voice is where I post most of my stuff. And they have an event page. So whenever an application comes up, they'll post it. You will see the post. And that's how I saw a lot of them. And there's a lot of grants in Taiwan that you can apply for. And you don't have to be Taiwanese. You can be a foreigner as well. So yeah, the Taiwan government's quite generous that way. I think, I don't think many countries would do that. Give you a bunch of money to record an album, to, plan a tour. What else? Some of my friends have done that. They plan a kind of Asian tour and they give you the funds for that. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. I think you have to also search for it because, you have to type, grants, and you can plan it. So this year's just started. So what's happening in February? What's happening next month? Yeah. Recently, the big one that's coming up is the 县政府. So the government, they're going to give you a grant for you to make an album and an EP. It depends. You can choose between both, and different sums of money, and you just kind of give them a detailed description of, what you do. And yeah, so there's always
Okay,
stuff.
Cool. Yeah, just I think people may not be aware of it. Like, if you are a creator, you're making things. A lot of us are thinking about, how can I get hired as a freelancer, as an individual. But another opportunity that you're trying to inform people about is, the opportunity that some governments are going to give you, or other platforms such as the Street Voice. There might be some other platform in another country that's similar to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely look at all avenues, including, like you said, government grants. I think that happens in the academic world a lot.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think that shouldn't be your goal, just to go for grants and kind of go for contests. I think it should be just part of it. You're recording as well. You're putting stuff online, and there shouldn't put everything into getting a grant. I think I was just pretty lucky to win that contest. I mean, if I applied again this year, maybe, I wouldn't get it. So also right place, right time, I suppose.
And then you said that you submitted these recordings that you made, and then you did this live performance, obviously. So I'm assuming the recording part was more like they're weeding out based on like songwriting or whatever. But could you tell me anything about the recordings that you submitted? And like, how did you go about doing that? Like, is that something that you've been doing for a long time?
Well, for the Taiwan Beer contest, I think I must have applied 3 to 5 songs. I can't remember, but I usually, give them an okay quality demo and a recent song that I enjoy, and not trying to, just give them a song I think will do well. And yeah, something that, I think represents me, like different styles put together, kind of where I'm at now mentally or so that's kind of one thing. And yeah, and then after I won the Taiwan Beer thing, then I had to write a song for them. Then it was, okay, you won it, so, but now we want a song. So yeah, they didn't choose The Great Reveal, my old song. They wanted me to write it.
And then, so I know that, writing music, any kind of creative process, is different, artist to artist, obviously. But just since you're doing this kind of on demand almost, since you won the contest, they're like, now we need a song from you.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Can you talk about the creative process, at all? Like when it comes to making stuff, like, are you any steps that you take or boxes that you tick or strategies you use?
Well, for that incident, it was a bit tricky. It took 2 tries. It took 2 songs before they kind of said, okay, we can work with this song. I remember the first song I did was a fast kind of punky song. I was just thinking, high energy kind of feeling. And they're quite considerate. They look at your background. They kind of know what to expect from you, and they kind of give you a direction, that they have in their head. And they say, well, you do your thing and then we'll meet halfway kind of. But that song was probably a bit too raw, a bit too rough for them. And then the second song I quite liked was called Gold Medal Man, but maybe it was too bluesy. I think not a lot of people listen to kind of blues orientated stuff at the moment. It's definitely very fringe. And it was bluesy plus a bit of kind of 90s Brit rock with a bit of, yeah. So I don't think that was what they wanted. And then they gave me kind of a sample of what they wanted. And then I realized, they want kind of a motivation, song that motivates you, gives you can do it kind of feeling. It's like maybe some athletes getting ready to come out onto the field, that kind of feeling. So then I just kind of, I don't know how it came out. I'm surprised that I came up with the goods. I think when you're under pressure like that, it's good in a way because you have a time limit and kind of forces it out of you. I don't think I could do it all the time, but I think it was good for me to be under that kind of pressure. I can't imagine, what bigger bands must, that pressure to release an album after album. But yeah, I kind of felt that, and I was kind of a bit happy about that. Ooh, I'm being asked to come up with a song. So I think it was hard, but I didn't give up because of that. It was fun. It was fun hard. So yeah, the song I came up with was called, it's a mix on Sinatra's My Way. It's a pun on water way. So water is my Chinese way, your path. But way can also mean stomach in Chinese. So it's a funny title, My Stomach, if you don't know the context. So that was a cool title, I think. And then the lyrics, they're just kind of upbeat. They're talking about actually my struggle writing the song, to be honest. Like the lyrics are, I'm just translating it, I can only do it my way because I don't know any other way. Those are the 2 beginning lines. So that's kind of what I do when I write songs. I just write how I'm feeling at the time. So that's how that specific song came along. And it's kind of, like, of course, it's different for every song. But for that one, it was definitely the pressure of, come on, come up with the goods, or you're not going to get that prize kind of feeling that pushed me along, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting experience. There's outside pressures on this for you, whenever they're asking you, okay, well, we need you to do this. And so, you have somebody expecting you to do something. And so you're feeling that and like, you're saying, okay, yeah, I want to do this thing. Right. And a lot of times I feel like with artists, if they're not getting paid to do something, they kind of sit back a little bit and maybe get too complacent. And I definitely do this all the time. I'll just like start something, but then don't really finish it out.
Right.
And I think it's so valuable to kind of go all the way through the process with any project that you take on, right? Even if you think it's like, man, this is going to be a failure. This is going to completely flop. So long as you're not investing like months or whatever of your time, if you can go all the way through the process, you learn so much more by going from start to finish than just starting and then saying, this won't work.
Right.
If you finish it out, at least you have that finished thing. You work through the process of going all the way through it. And then maybe later you decide, well, actually one part of that is good, or I could change it and then use it somewhere else. So it's great that you had that external motivation to help you go all the way through that process with that, even though they had to make you do it a few times, which sounds a little annoying to me.
Isn't the authentic me what you wanted?
Yeah.
No, but yeah.
For other times, I was just wondering, other times, like you were saying with your older songs, your other material, like with Bento Band and whatnot, are these projects things where you wrote all of the song, or you oftentimes like sat in with the band and you kind of co-wrote it all together? And, what usually kind of inspires you, and like, how do you go about finishing a song?
Well, for Bento Band, the original trio, Eileen, who was first the drummer, but then she learned guitar and started to write songs. She also, wrote quite a lot of songs for Bento Band. So it would be kind of, I do one song, you do one song, and then we'd share it like that. But then I'd put, my personality on the solo to her song, and she'd do, harmonies for my song. And it grew that way. That was what was special about it. We didn't really have to tell each other what to add. We just kind of naturally knew what each other's song needed. That was cool. That doesn't happen a lot. So when that happens, keep, milk the cow as much as you can. And so, but projects after, it's usually been mainly my song or my idea. And for Mud Skipper, I also have a band called Mud Skipper. That's a bit of a mix too, because the bass player, Nicola, he also writes songs. So he would suggest, your song, you could, put another chord in there. You could change it this way. But it's still pretty much, I have an idea for a song and let's work on this song to complete it so we can play it live and see how it goes. And we might drop the song later. So yeah, that's how it works. I usually have a song and I want other people to help complete it because I can't do it by myself all the time.
And you usually like write it down, or you're communicating it with a recording, or, like a live performance to other people? Like, you just remember all the songs in your head? I know people that can do that, but
I forget quite a few actually. I have, a bunch of songs that I'm really good at now that I'm passionate about now. Then I'll forget the older ones, and I might go back to the older ones and, I remember this song. That was actually quite a good song. And then I'll remember it if I play it again and again. Because, when you write a song, obviously you've played it 100 times before. You hear it on a demo or something. So usually I'll have most of the idea for the song. I'll have, the chords and some of the lyrics. And, it's just about how to complete it with this bunch of people, to the best way we can. Yeah.
Sure. But sorry, I was trying to ask about how you're remembering the idea. So like, are you making a phone recording of these things? You're like producing it on your computer, or is it a mixture of all of those?
So if it's a fresh idea, I usually have, my phone. I'll just kind of whisper into my phone, play the guitar, and I keep the idea. And then really quickly, I try, record it basically on the computer. with an acoustic guitar, add the vocals, and then maybe slowly add some other stuff. Yeah. Or sometimes we'd go into the studio and I just show them the song. I just play it live.
All right. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we talked a lot about, the Taiwan Beer project, and I know we didn't cover everything there, but I wanted to ask you a question about, since they made you kind of like the spokesperson for Taiwan Beer.
Yeah.
And I guess you could call yourself an ambassador even for this
Crazy.
company. It's a unique role, and I was wondering, does that like influence your perspective on music or how you view the industry or anything that you create now?
Not really, because that's the Taiwan Beer thing. Even though it's a big part of my music career so far, it's definitely the project that's given me the most exposure and money, to be honest. So it's a big part, but it's not everything, and I'm still doing other stuff. So I'd say, yeah. What was the question?
Yeah, I just wondered if it changed your perspective, like on music. Since you're professional musician, you're making money, off of performing. I assume teaching, doing various things now. Like knowing that there are opportunities like this. Are you trying to go for more of them, or are you kind of positioning yourself in different ways now, and how you view your music and how other people view it?
I mean, I would have to be quite picky. It would have to be something that's different and exciting. I wouldn't jump on just anything, because it definitely takes up all your time, and you definitely have to be more aware that kind of what you do, people will look and they have an opinion. But I think a lot of people who saw the Taiwan Beer advert, a lot of people saw it, but they don't know who I am. And so I think they'll recognize me maybe, but it hasn't affected kind of how I go about writing songs or kind of my idea for the next project. I'm still gonna do what I want to do, and it's really cool. The Taiwan Beer thing, it's kind of pushed me up to another level that I would have probably taken a while to get to. But I have to think of it as it's just another project, or it will kind of just be weird. I would kind of be self-conscious of my image, or I want to kind of do another advert or something just to keep up the exposure that I had before. I think that's a dodgy path. I don't really want to think about that too much. Just want to, make music that I like, and yeah.
Yeah, great. Not letting it affect, like your direction, I think is probably a smart move on your part, I'm sure. Staying true to yourself. Sam, seems like you don't have any problem with that, though, Billy, from what I can tell.
You might see me doing a soap advert next week or something.
I do see a few artists that have made themselves pretty noticeable on advertisements. And I was like, I thought that guy was a musician, but I seem like I just see them on all of these, like,
I name no
posters
names
around. Anyway, let's switch over a little bit to what's going on, down the road here. Talking about, you might want to revisit some of the Bento Band projects. I know you're constantly, listening to music and being exposed to various things and creating things on your own. Like, what's the next step that you can see, or what's a new project you're excited about?
I think I'm just building up my songs at the moment. I've got a lot of songs that have never been recorded, and I think it's time I got them down. At least have them out there, to be listened to, or something I can pull out and I could collaborate with someone else. And I guess what I really want to do is just to keep making the next song that kind of excites me, it proves that I'm growing as a musician and I'm not just in the same place. And I think I'm opening up to different styles. I want to do more of a I keep changing. It depends what I listen to. If I listen to like Iggy Pop or something, I want to do a really heavy album. But then I'll listen to Nick Drake, and then I want to do a folk album. And then so it's a bit of a jumble that way. But I guess this year, if I could do some cool collaborations, keep writing, putting my demos out there. Maybe I'd like to make some cool videos, like DIY some cool music videos, kind of put my, because I like creating as well. So why not do everything, video wise, image wise. Yeah, that's my short term plan.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds excellent. I'd love to see some new videos from you.
Cool.
Especially that there's been some new tools that have recently been introduced with AI. Have you ever thought about playing around with any of that?
Actually, I think it's called Warp. It kind of mixes and masters your audio for you. I tried that once, and that was interesting. I think it's a cool tool. Like, I'm open to it. Obviously, you can't let it use you. If you used it to make something creative and different, I'm totally open to that. I think that's a cool idea. So yeah, I've done
Cool.
I've done the AI thing. I'd like to do. I don't know if you've tried where it teaches you along the way. I'm not sure if you're recording. You've got your recording thing out, and you kind of ask it a question. Now, how do I make this reverb sound like this song? It will show you how, and also it will also teach you. I think that's, my friend told me about. That sounds really interesting. You kind of learn along the way. But I don't know what that.
Yeah, that
what
sounds
that
great.
is. Mm.
Oh yeah, if you do find that, please do share it. I can send the link out. I know that OpenAI just released something that can make video for people based on text prompts. So I know one of my other friends who I interviewed before, Rosalind Limmer, she does motion graphics, and she's using a lot of AI tools with the Adobe products where you can feed it images and then it'll create a video based on those images, and then you can kind of link those videos together to make a story. So there's all kind of interesting things in that regard. And just with music itself, I think it's only a matter of time before, we get that kind of assistant almost that can kind of walk us through one step or another, which is very interesting too.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, I know that, we talked about you going from, moving around from different countries and, leaving school and like having this very diverse experience young on and kind of developing in a very unique way. And that definitely shines through with all of your music and the performances that I've seen. And I know the material that you're putting out. So, I just want to say, keep going and thank you for making the very interesting content, that you're doing and staying true to who you are and what you do. But what advice could you give to other people that, aspiring musicians or creative people, that maybe that you would like to hear?
Well, thanks, Craig. I think we worked on a few songs of mine together. And I look back on, Hey You and Rain Over Me. I think they're good songs, and I'm glad we did them. And Hey You is actually second on my most played song on Street Voice. So yeah, we did a good job there. Advice, just you just gotta churn out the songs. I think a lot of people get bogged down on perfection, getting it perfect. Obviously, it's good to upgrade your stuff and keep going for a better sound. But I think just getting stuff out there, finishing it and moving on to the next thing so you can keep growing. That's really important. Also write about what's happening in the world now, like be a mirror, a reflection of the times now. Because I think more artists should reflect how, everything that's going on in the world, all the good stuff, all the bad stuff, all the fucked up stuff. We need, musicians, almost like journalists, to report how they feel, what's going on in different places in the world, so be open, don't be afraid to show your naked self. Yeah. something like that. Yeah.
Nice. And are there any, upcoming projects, collaborations, or performances that you'd like to share with our listeners?
If you go to Street Voice and you search for Billy Walshaw or Hong Billy, and then you'll see my latest songs. I'm kind of posting every couple weeks. So yeah.
All right, great. We'll definitely share the links to your Street Voice material so people can go and follow you, listen to some of those things. And then I guess there's a YouTube video or something of you with the Taiwan.
Yeah, you can see that. You can see that on YouTube.
Right. So we're going to share that.
I learned how to do the perfect drinking beer face.
Perfect drinking beer face. Did you have to get coached in this? Is this like somebody came in?
Oh yes. It took me half an hour to get that cut, that take, just those 3 seconds. It's not what you imagine. It takes forever. And they were so worried because I love Taiwanese get that. They get the red face when they drink. So I was getting the red face. So, okay, we're watering down your people. You're just having water now. So I was drinking water from the Taiwan Beer can. There you go.
Oh man, that sounds hilarious. Well, cool. Thanks so much again for sharing all your experiences and your journey. Definitely going to share all the links, any other things that you think could help our listeners. If they're coming to Taiwan looking for festivals maybe, or they're looking for places to play, maybe some of those locations that have jams up in the Taipei area, for instance. If you want to share those, I'd love to share them with everybody else, And again, thanks for taking the time, Billy, and it's been a pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
As I wrap up this conversation with Billy Walshaw, I think back on my own experiences as a musician, and I'm inspired by his unyielding dedication and the creative journey he's embarked upon in Taiwan. From leaving school at 15 to pursue his musical dreams, to finding success through contests and government support, Billy's story is a testament to the power of perseverance and seizing opportunities. Reflecting on our discussion, here are 3 takeaways we can all apply to our pursuits. Number 1, embrace collaboration. By fostering open collaboration and creating a comfortable environment for teams, we can bring out the best in ourselves and our collaborators. Whether in music, art, or any endeavor, the power of working together cannot be understated. Number 2, seize opportunities. Like Billy Walshaw, seeking out opportunities such as contests, grants, and platforms like Street Voice in your area can open doors. Don't be afraid to take calculated risks and pursue avenues that can elevate your work. Number 3, embrace pressure. External pressure can often push us to achieve our best work, whether it's a contest deadline or the challenge of creating under pressure. Harnessing that energy and turning it into creativity can lead to remarkable results. Well, I hope you found these insights as valuable as I have, and will take a moment to check out the links provided in the show notes. I encourage you to stay tuned for more inspiring discussions on Field Talk. Subscribe, share, and leave a rating in your podcast app. That's all the support I need to keep this going. Also, if you have ideas, suggestions, or you'd like to be a guest on the show, email me at dream@ideafield.pro. Until next time, keep exploring, experimenting, and expanding your knowledge while staying compassionate and creative.